Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is a comedy and entertainment podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark, and with me as always is what I believe to be the fourth deadly Hallow. It's Amber.
Thank you.
They're very powerful.
They are.
And coveted. That's what I was thinking. They're very powerful and coveted.
So we've got the Cloak of Invisibility, the Resurrection Stone, the Elder Wand, and Amber.
And you, yes. Yeah. You.
I'm just there. I'm like a companion.
Yeah, I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. But I am writing some fan fiction, so it'll probably be in there. So.
Well, this is episode 56, and we can only assume that all of you are happy to know we're talking about the last Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Huzzah.
You're either excited because you love it or excited because it's done.
Yes, it's been a while that we've been doing Harry Potter, but it's also been a while since we have podcasted. Yeah. Almost a month since we released episode 55, which we talked about something.
Just things we liked about the last year, I think.
That's right. Decade in review, what have you. So, or the last year, not the decade.
Yeah, the decade was too much to tackle.
That was too much, that's right. So that was fun. We've had a very busy season here, but we're back. We're back at it. We're excited to be podcasting again.
Yeah, and, regardless of what the audience thinks, I really loved going through the Harry Potter series again. I think there's parts of it I understood or definitely took in differently being a full-grown adult now. I mean, I was a full-grown adult before, but I'm in a different phase of life. Having kids that are even older than Harry. I didn't have that before. There's just things I understood about people's motivations, and I really enjoyed it. It's a fun series to revisit.
And I really enjoyed reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was fantastic. I just think J.K. Rowling did a great job with the characters, and there's a lot of, I liked kind of the grayness of things. It was like, even the good guys had some issues, and the bad guys had some good stuff going on, and it's just kind of, I just loved it. I loved everything. I was a little bit nervous about Deathly Hallows because the only thing I remembered was the movie being boring. And so we rewatched both movies.
Yes.
And there was a little bit of slow bits in Deathly Hallows 1 when they're kind of, or is it 2? Maybe it's a combination where they're kind of sadly trudging through the wilderness.
Yeah, it's mostly 1, but it's, it really communicates what they're going through. It's supposed to feel long and boring and hopeless and fruitless.
Yeah.
That's what they are experiencing. And really, it is shorter than you think it's going to be when you're watching it.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot of exciting stuff that happens in that movie.
Much excitement. So I'm excited about kind of diving into some of those different things here in a little bit. But first, Amber, I wanted you to know that the format of the show is thus. First, we will be doing what I've called a Tri-Wizard quiz.
Ooh, a quiz first. I love it.
I thought about calling it Tri-Wiz quiz because that sounded fun, but I really wanted to tie it into that Tri-Wizard tournament kind of a thing.
Okay.
So I could have gone either way.
All right.
So I guess we'll let the listeners kind of...
I mean, when you guys are just discussing it at dinner and stuff, you can shorten it.
Yeah.
You can shorten it to Tri-Wiz quiz.
Tri-Wiz quiz. Yeah, maybe we'll go with that because it's funner to say.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to know that it is in reference to the Tri-Wizard tournament from another Harry Potter book. That's why it fits right into this episode.
Cool.
And then after that, Amber, we're going to be talking about our favorite parts of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Great. So if you guys want to leave us feedback, you can always contact us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SegmentsCast, or you could email us, segmentscast@gmail.com.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be accused of being overactive on social media.
No, but I'd like to get better at that.
Yeah, but when we release an episode, it's there. And if you leave us feedback, we always find it if you leave it there at Facebook.
Well, hopefully we do. It's been so long now, we think we just have one friendly little feedback, but if something got lost in the mix, we apologize.
So, Amber, why don't you lay out that feedback?
Friend of the show, my mom, Laura, she said this is in reference to our 2019 review. Good episode.
You almost said great. And then you're like, oh, no.
But it's good episode, lots of laughs, exclamation point. So that kind of equals great episode.
I think that's better than, she could have easily gone with LOL. But this is very clear. Actually, actual laughter.
True. Okay. So then she said, when Mark talked about slowing down, it reminded me of an interview I saw with Tom Hanks.
Hello.
Who said he learned to slow down from trying to be Mr. Rogers. Also, I was happy to hear Mark enjoyed a game that had something to do with Star Trek. That's The Captain is Dead.
That's right. The Captain is Dead. Very good.
In 2019, I enjoyed Alexa, learning to listen to music, hearing about the weather, and jokes. We really like our Alexa, too.
Mm-hmm.
We're aware that she might be listening in even right this second. We're cool with that.
We're fine with that. We're not hiding anything.
It's another listener. Segment's listener.
Exactly.
She said she enjoyed riding her tricycle around her park, and she enjoyed playing a new game called Double Ditto with my fantastic family on Christmas. Again, lots of laughs.
Lots of laughs. Man, double lots of laughs. So what is this, Amber, learning to listen to music?
Well, I think just like what you can ask Alexa to do.
I see.
What kinds of stations she has, what do you enjoy? You kind of experiment with it and figure out what you want to ask for. You usually ask for something and she always gives you something you don't like.
Well, I ask for two things. One thing, she always gives me what I want, and the other thing, she always messes up. So one thing,
just keep trying.
And I say, Alexa, play my music, and then that's just all the songs that I've liked. She gets that.
Yeah.
But when I say, Alexa, play some music, she says, here's something you might like, and it's always the same thing, and it's always.
She's trying it right now.
Oh, she's talking right now. Oh,
greatest soft rock.
Yeah,
that's not bad. Is that what she tries?
No, this is different. She's done it.
She heard us. She knew we were onto her.
It was great.
She's trying something new.
Soft rock hits. It's actually a very good playlist on Amazon. So
we might be setting off other people's Alexas if they're at home right now listening.
I wonder let us know what Alexa started playing for you. So what struck me, Amber, in your mom's feedback, I like to kind of exegete these a little bit. And so she's learning to listen to music, and it made me think, maybe that's where maybe if she didn't listen to music, maybe that's where you learned to not listen to music.
I mean, that could be. There was not just like constant music playing at my house growing up. We had a record player.
Yeah.
We had some good discs.
Yeah.
Some Don Francisco.
I imagine your dad liked listening to music.
Yeah, but it was kind of like we're turning on the record player Sunday morning getting ready for church. It was not like a constant thing.
Yeah.
Oldies, we had some oldies on, some in the car. My dad liked talk radio.
Mm.
I don't remember my mom listening to something in the car.
Yeah, now she listens to audiobooks.
Yeah, that's a great option.
This is a great listener question. What do you guys listen to in the car? Is it podcasts? Is it music? Is it talk radio? Is it sports talk radio? Political talk radio?
Yeah.
There's a lot of options out there nowadays.
Interesting.
Wonder if we could do an episode about what you listen to.
I feel like we could.
In the car, because we've got some stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's stick a pin in that, Amber, and move on. I've got something before we get to the Tri-Wiz quiz. I have something special here for us. It's a Hanks but no thanks.
Oh, good.
And if you want to click on that article, you can if you want to.
I'm on it.
It's from Vanity Fair, and it says that Henry Winkler says he has no beef with Tom Hanks.
Oh, no. He was my only one.
Yeah. So longtime listeners know that Amber has really, really held tightly to Henry Winkler and his disdain for Tom Hanks. But let me just read the first couple of paragraphs here for you. It's not quite Taylor Swift and Katy Perry embracing while dressed as a burger and fries. No idea what that's referring to.
Absolutely not.
Well, that's a mystery. Listeners, please help us. But it appears any rumored feud between Hollywood good guys Henry Winkler and Tom Hanks is officially dead, if it even existed in the first place. When stopped on the street by TMZ this week, Winkler said there was no animosity between himself and the Oscar winner. I don't have a feud with Tom Hanks, the Barry star said bluntly. What everybody says and what is true are two different things.
Okay. Couple things.
Okay.
Did TMZ just approach him with that question out of the blue?
Well, what are you going to talk?
Mr. Rogers didn't just come out. Like, what happened? Why would they approach him with that? And then, what everybody says and what is true. You know what? When everybody says something, there's something there. That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying that he is trying to kind of, on the outside, bury the hatchet.
I think he said something
to
start this rumor. But you're right. He's done now. I don't think he has any continuing grudges. But I do think there was something there to start with. But this didn't just form out of nothing.
Yeah, his disdain for Tom Hanks has helped his career about as much as your disdain for Tom Hanks has helped your career, which is not at all.
No,
It's
yeah.
actually very detrimental, and people don't understand.
Yeah, that might be what's holding me back.
And they might think, what's wrong with this person?
And again, he's fine. Just like vanilla ice cream is
my
fine.
gosh.
You
He's
just
way-
wouldn't choose it.
Did we talk about it's a wonderful, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood?
I don't know that we did. Well, I feel like we might have
We
in our
might
last
have, but
one.
man, that was a good movie.
It was great. It was great.
It was a great movie. I think everybody should go watch it. Tom Hanks starred in it, and he didn't star in it. He was kind of a co-star, but he was great. I think everybody should watch that movie.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, I didn't watch the other Mr. Rogers documentary, but I assume that it was really research based. So Mr. Rogers did have a very slow cadence. He really thought about everything he was going to say, like my mom said.
Yeah. See, this
Helps
ties
you
right
slow
back into
down.
that too.
So
You gotta learn to slow down. So I'm a big believer in trying to slow down and just kind of enjoy people, enjoy where we're at, enjoy God. And so, yeah. Anyway,
Coolio.
Coolio.
We'll keep on our lookout
We'll
for
keep-
somebody who
there's-
doesn't like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, there's got to be more people besides Henry Winkler and Hootie.
Hootie, that's right. I still got Hootie. Hootie's still in my court.
Oh, man. Well, Amber, why don't you redeem yourself by telling us what's making you happy right now?
All right. What's making me happy is a new book. I have finished the Harry Potter series, so
Huzzah.
I'm able to start reading some other things. And it is called Educated. It's a memoir. It's written by Tara Westover. So I saw this. It's probably been out for over a year now because I remember it popped up all over my Instagram and Facebook feed a while back. Everybody was loving it. You got to read this book. So I kind of had it on my list, and I asked for it for Christmas, and I got it. So I have not finished it all the way yet. I'm a few chapters from the end, but it's just really interesting. It's definitely, I think memoirs are usually told in a way that's really easy to read. And obviously it's somebody's personal life story. I would feel like the very beginning didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to, but there's been multiple nights where I was like, man, I really just need to put this book down and go to bed. And I haven't wanted to put it down. So that's kind of fun. It's about a family in Idaho. They're survivalists, and it starts out with a girl very small. So, and she even admits like her memories from her childhood are probably not crystal clear, and she will try to ask like her brothers, and she had a pretty big family. What, are her memories correct? And different people remember different facts, and so there are things she can't remember. But she had a real rough childhood. Her dad was pretty messed up in his survivalist mentality and the mountains of Idaho. And
Well, you said that he was around the time as
yes,
Ruby Ridge, right?
Ruby Ridge. And we had a famous history teacher. Mark and I took a class together before we got married.
Yeah, we took it at the community
Just hold on a
college.
second. Alexa, stop. There we go.
Alexa is really jamming over there. So Amber and I took this class, a history class, at the local community college here before we were married, and it was great. But the only thing I remember about it is this professor, and he kind of talked like this.
Exactly.
And he was talking about Ruby Ridge, all the
Yes,
time.
yes.
And
then they refer to it's Randy Weaver at Ruby Ridge.
Randy Weaver and Ruby Ridge.
Yeah. So something like that happening where it was kind of a survivalist family in a cabin in the woods that had some anti-government things going on, was surrounded by who knows what, FBI, CIA. Family ended up getting shot. So that happened in this girl's childhood, and her dad, that's exactly the kind of thing he thought would happen in his survivalist mentality. So that made him even more set in his ways. So she never set foot in a school. And now at the point I'm reading now, she's trying to go to college. And so it's very challenging. Like, she's pretty intelligent. She tried to teach herself. They call it homeschooled, but they didn't do any official homeschooling by any means. And she had a lot of like horrible injuries and really tragic things happen to her when she was little. That's hard to read, but I'm just gripped by it. She's a good storyteller, and I'm curious to see where she's going to go. And it's amazing what she was able to make of her life considering what was given to her. So I would recommend it if you like memoirs. It's called Educated.
Awesome. One of the pastors that I like to listen to, John Mark Comer, was talking about that book.
Oh,
He
really?
really likes it a lot.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah.
Mark, what is making you happy right now?
Well, Amber, what's making me happy right now is a song. It's a song.
One of the new top 40 hits?
One of the new top 40 hits. It's called the 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky. Obviously, it's not one of the top 40 hits, but it's probably one of the top 40 most famous classical pieces. That's probably true, right?
Oh, I bet.
And I'm excited about it because, as many of our longtime listeners know, I am a member of a premier wind ensemble
Yes,
here
you
in
are.
Kalamazoo, the Academy Street Winds. And we are in preparation for our next big show that is coming up on March 6th at K College, the Light Fine Arts Building. It's free Friday night, 8 o'clock. If you want to come, we could have like a segment section where you guys all sit together.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. Seggies.
There's something about the
ASW.
way that you just described that was exactly like an interview in the Mighty Wind. I'm part of the Academy Street Winds, and we've got a big show coming up. It felt exactly like you were being interviewed for that show, that movie. That's hilarious.
I take that as a high compliment.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And so the big song, so the theme of this concert is Russian composers. So
course.
we've got Tchaikovsky and Halverson, and we got Chernetsky and Shostakovich and Stravinsky and Rimsky-Korsakov. So a bunch of great pieces, many of them that you would be familiar with if you heard them. But
Or if you've watched Looney Tunes.
Or if you've watched the Looney Tunes, yes. And if you, the big piece is the 1812.
Oh, yeah.
Very exciting. And it's very long. And I get to practice on Wednesday, and the roads are bad, so I get there just a moment late, and Director Tom is having a very frank discussion with the band, and he's saying, guys, I'm not sure.
Oh, no.
If you guys don't practice, we're not going to be able to pull this song off because it's very challenging. Are you willing to do it, or should we replace it with something? And there was a lot of conversation. Some of the older folks, I don't want to say they're stick in the muds, but there's some older folks that were kind of, what she said was, I used to be a kindergarten teacher, or maybe she says I used to be a first grade teacher, and I wanted my kids to read Moby Dick, but it was never going to happen. She said that about our band. Like, we just don't have the chops to do it. We just don't have the ability to play the 1812.
Wow.
And so I think that kind of fired some people up, and they said, hey, we got this. We can do it. So we're going to be playing it. At least at this point, we'll be playing the 1812.
Yeah, I hope that it works out. Yeah, because a first grader really can't read Moby Dick.
That's exactly my point.
So that was her point as well?
Her point was that this band's not good enough to play the 1812.
Yikes. But you did mention that it's supposed to have a lot of strings, and it has to be the woodwinds that are doing
and
all
so
that.
this is a woodwind arrangement, or it's a winds arrangement, and so it's just brass and woodwinds, no strings. And so it is a very challenging piece, especially for the clarinets, flutes, and the woodwinds. So it's going to be, but I think they're going to pull it off. I think it's going to be great. And yeah, anyway, so there you go. I'm pretty fired up about that. And so I've been listening to it on repeat in the car as I drive around. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to that. I always like to think about if somebody was searching for a podcast and they were like, oh, Deathly Hallows. I think I'd like to hear what somebody has to say about that. And they're like, what are they talking about? Tom Hanks?
Wait.
What is this? What is this band stuff? Where's my Harry Potter?
Yeah, it's hard to really to say what we are.
I know.
Who are we?
Yeah.
What are we? We're just we're just us, and we're just doing our thing.
Mm-hmm,
You know? Segment 1, the Tri-Wiz Quiz.
I
You like
love
that?
it.
You like
I love
that?
it.
All right, and so Amber, the idea here is that I've got 14 quotes,
Ooh.
and each one is a quote from either Dumbledore,
Okay.
Gandalf,
Okay. Oh.
or Merlin.
Oh, I get it.
from
There's
Disney's
three wizards.
Sword in the Stone.
Oh, that's very clever. Good
Okay?
job.
The Tri-Wiz Quiz. And so you got either Dumbledore, you remember him?
Yeah.
Gandalf, you know him?
Yeah.
Another famous wizard?
Yeah, it's hard to picture them as being two different people right this second, but I know they're from two different franchises.
Yep. And there's a Merlin. And there's a lot of portrayals of Merlin, but what we're looking at is Disney's Sword in the Stone.
Okay,
The
okay.
animated version.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now you've kind of gotten the headspace there.
Yep.
And we're playing for Adam.
Oh, that's right.
Right, you gotta
Let's see if
get-
Adam gets a segment sticker.
You got to get 50% or better. So
Okay.
there's 14. That means you have to get 7
All right.
of them right.
Gotcha.
You know, let's make it interesting. You got to get 8 of them right.
Okay. There's 14, right?
There's 14.
8 is the winning number.
8 is
then.
the winning number.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Number 1. We all have to decide what to do with the time that is given. We all have to
Oh, man.
decide what to do with the time that is given.
That's a nice quote.
Thank you.
I feel like I want to narrow it down to Gandalf or Dumbledore. I'm going to say Gandalf.
Amber, you are correct.
Woo-hoo!
That was Gandalf. Okay, number 2. Well, so you did drop in for tea after all. Oh, you are a bit late, you know.
I don't remember anybody having tea with Dumbledore. That's my most recent memories. Those hobbits would have tea all the time. Second lunch, 11sies, all that. But I don't remember somebody dropping in on Gandalf. It'd be more likely he would drop in. Could it be Merlin? I don't remember much about that. I'm going to guess Merlin.
Amber, you are correct.
Yay!
You did drop in for tea after all. Yep. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.
Ooh.
It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.
Man, Dumbledore could say that about the Mirror of Erised, if that's how you pronounce it.
That's how I would pronounce it.
He also said something weird about dreams when Harry was supposed to be sleeping at one point. I'm going to say Dumbledore.
Amber, you are correct.
Man, I'm
3
nailing
for
it.
3. Okay, well, let's see if you get number 4.
Okay.
You fail to recognize that it matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be.
It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. So that could for sure refer to Sword in the Stone. Could refer to Frodo, for Pete's sake. He did amazing things. Of course, it could refer to Harry, but Harry was born pretty cool. I'm going to go with Merlin for that one.
I'm sorry, it was Dumbledore. Amber, I believe Dumbledore was talking about Hermione at that one. And it matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. I love that. I think it's a great... what I like about it is it felt like it could be anything in that hero's journey. So it could have been any of those. It could have been
True.
the Hobbits. It could have been one of the 3 from Harry Potter. It could have been, whoever they were from.
Yeah, that's just kind of what happens when the hero's journey around to places.
But Hermione was called a mudblood.
Mudblood.
Yeah, bad news.
Yeah.
So you missed one, Amber, but you're still doing good. Number 5, for even the wise cannot see all ends. For even the wise cannot see all ends.
Well, that's true, of course. I don't think Dumbledore tried to see the ends too much of things. It could be Gandalf. It could be Merlin. I'm going to say Gandalf for that one.
Amber, you are correct
Ha-ha.
again. Well done. Easy quiz. Number 6. Only a small part is played in great deeds by any hero.
Aw, that's a nice quote, too.
Only
Wizards are so smart, right?
Wizards are so smart.
Oh, say it again.
Only a small part is played in great deeds by any hero.
Frodo had a pretty big part. It feels Gandalf-y. But, yeah, I'm going to say Gandalf.
Amber, you are correct again.
I just know them. I know my wizards.
I put 2 Gandalfs in a row to kind of try to trick you a little bit.
You've gotten so good at not being, not doing those. I never even think about it anymore, trying to guess how you put things in order.
That's how I roll. Number 7. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends.
That was spoken to my friend Neville Longbottom by none other than Professor Dumbledore.
Oh, my goodness. That is maybe one of my favorite quotes. That was from the very first movie.
You're right.
That was poor little Neville.
Yeah.
Just a little guy. He stood up because they were sneaking
Don't
out
leave
again.
the common room. Yeah.
And they...
Aww.
What spell did Hermione... The Petrificus Totalis?
She froze him. Little baby Hermione.
He grew up to be quite handsome in that final movie.
He did. He had a glow up, they say.
He had a glow up, as they say. All right, number 8. Don't you get any foolish ideas that magic will solve all your problems, because it won't.
Man, that could go in a lot of places. Don't get any foolish ideas that magic will solve all your problems.
Because it won't.
It feels a little harsh for Dumbledore for some reason. Gandalf. I'm going to go with Merlin on that one. It doesn't sound familiar.
Amber, you are correct.
Ah!
That is Merlin. He's a little bit harsher than the other guys
Yeah.
sometimes. Okay, number 9.
Okay.
It is a curious thing, but perhaps those who are best suited for power are those who have never sought it.
Ooh.
It is a curious thing, but perhaps those who are best suited for power are those who have never sought it. That is a great quote.
So good.
It's a great quote.
That's Gandalf or Dumbledore, I would think. But who is seeking power in The Lord of the Rings? They're just trying to take down the bad guy, but I don't feel like somebody new is trying to rise up. I'm going to go Dumbledore on that one.
Well, it is Dumbledore. You are correct, but let me question your thinking there.
Okay.
Because, what's his name? What's his little name? The Hobbit?
Frodo.
Frodo wasn't looking for power, but he was best suited for it, carrying the power, of the One Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just meant like he wasn't trying to rise. He wasn't trying to like be the leader of the land.
No.
He didn't want that kind of power.
And so Dumbledore was talking to Harry and saying that Harry was the best recipient of the power of, I don't know if it was the Deathly Hallows or what it was, but he was best suited for it because that's not what he wanted.
I see.
What's
I
his
was only
name?
thinking of like rising to the top power wise, but
Yeah,
just
Tom
having
Riddle
a power.
wanted power.
Ah, of course.
But he's not well suited for power because he is a bad man.
Yeah.
All right, Amber, I think you've won the game, but we're just going to keep going because it's so fun. I
Yes,
want to
please.
try to trip you up here.
Okay.
I will not say do not weep, for not all tears are an evil.
Again, Dumbledore's the freshest in my mind. I don't hear him saying that, but it feels very wizardy.
We're all wizards. Try Whiz Quiz.
I'm going to say that one is Gandalf.
Yeah, you are correct. That's at the very end of the third movie. And he's,
Which end? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they're about getting ready to sail out into the sea forever, and it's all kind of
Yeah, that feels
gloomy.
very appropriate. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, number 11. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it.
Oh, wow. Where would that have come into play? Who's numbing the pain? Does anybody in Harry Potter, are they numbing the... There's a lot of pain in Harry Potter.
There's usually a lot of pain in all the good books.
You're right, there is. So I'm going to rule out Dumbledore, though. I'm going to go one of the other two. Certainly one of the heroes could, be trying to drink away the pain or fight away the pain. Then you've got Merlin in the Sword in the Stone. I really don't remember anything about that. Seems like an intense statement for a cartoon. I'm going to go with Gandalf.
Incorrect. It was Dumbledore.
Oh, who do you say it to?
I don't know exactly. I feel like... Yeah, I have no idea. My initial thought is that he said it to Harry because he's the person that he talks to the most in the books.
Yeah.
But I don't know what pain he's, trying to ignore the pain of his parents.
Yeah, that could be.
Whatever.
I mean, he's got a lot to try to stifle so he can survive.
Yeah. All right, well, we got 3 more, Amber.
Okay.
You've missed 2 now, which is good, I
No,
guess.
more than that, right?
No, that's
oh,
it.
my gosh,
You're
I'm so good at this.
It is not despair, for despair is only for those who see the end beyond all doubt. We do not.
That feels like something you say after somebody dies. I'm going to say Gandalf.
You are correct, Amber.
There's more deaths over there.
A lot of deaths. Okay, number 13. Yes, that boy's got real spark. Lots of spirit. Throws himself heart and soul into everything he does. And that's really worth something. If it could only be turned in the right direction.
Oh. I don't feel like you're going to say that in Lord of the Rings. I don't remember Harry being described that way. Is there anybody else that could be described that way? I'm going to say that this one must be Merlin.
You are correct,
Okay.
Amber. I don't remember the name of the kid in The Sword and the Stone, but
It's not Arthur?
I don't think it's Arthur. Maybe it is.
I don't know.
I'll look that up in a minute. No, this is the last one.
Okay.
And if I'm looking here, you've missed 2, but I'm going to say if you miss this one, you lose.
Oh, my gosh. Sorry, Adam.
Just kidding. I won't do that to Adam. Have you any idea how much tyrants fear the people they oppress? All of them realize that one day, amongst their many victims, there is sure to be one that rises against them and strikes back.
Ooh. Man. So if he was referring to Voldemort, we hardly have anybody. Gandalf could be referring to what? Saruman or something?
Saruman.
Man. Who's the villain in Merlin? I don't. I want to say. Will you read it one more time?
Yes, I will. It is, have you any idea how much tyrants fear the people they oppress? All of them realize that one day, amongst their many victims, there is sure to be one that rises against them and strikes back.
I'm going to go Merlin.
Amber, I'm sorry.
Oh,
That
no.
was Dumbledore.
Oh, man.
That was Dumbledore. So you still got 12 out of 14. So I'd say that's a real... No, you've got 11 out of 14.
Okay.
Because I highlighted the ones that you missed. You missed 3.
Okay.
So good job. You won Adam a sticker.
Thank you.
And real
Yay,
quick here,
Adam.
Sword in the Stone characters. I thought I'd be able to come up with them real quick.
I
Nope.
just Googled it. The 1963 cartoon. It says a poor boy named Arthur learns the power of
Oh.
love,
They
kindness,
just
and
call
knowledge.
him Wart.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I look at the characters, his name is Wart, which is
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Archimedes is the little guy.
Yeah, the little
guy.
owl.
Yeah.
Cute.
So anyway, there you go.
That was a great quiz, honey, and I like the nickname for it.
Oh, thanks. Try Whiz Quiz.
Try Whiz Quiz.
Segment 2. Our favorite parts of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So, Amber, this is the segment where we're going to talk about our favorite parts of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, book 7 of the Harry Potter series. When did this book come out?
When did this book come out? Is that a rhetorical question?
No, but I just thought you would know.
I have it right in front of me.
She's got it right in front of her. She's going to look up. I'm going to just do some color commentary so I don't have to edit this out. She's flipping
2007.
2007. And so that was 13 years ago this
Yeah.
book came out.
Yeah.
Did we? Is this one of the books where we went to Barnes and Nobles and stood in line?
Barnes and Noble was either the Half-Blood Prince or maybe even Order of the Phoenix, because by then we decided Barnes and Noble wasn't worth the hassle, and I just went to Meijer and got it at midnight.
Okay.
I could not wait. In that day and age, if you had ordered it on Amazon, it would not come until the day after.
Yeah.
Like it was not shipped until the day it was released. So
Yeah.
you did not receive it. So you couldn't wait, for goodness sakes. And the first time I read it was probably certainly within 48 hours, maybe
Okay.
less than that.
Yeah.
So I zoomed right through, and I don't know 100% because I had reread the whole series right before this one came out.
Mm-hmm.
Did I read it a second time before now? I don't know. This might have been the second time I've ever read it.
Interesting. Well, I know that as we were watching the 2 movies, especially the second part, there was, I don't know, I feel like there was 80% of the movie that I'm like, this is brand new.
Wow.
I do not remember this. The whole bit of Harry and King's Cross, no recollection
Oh,
of that.
man, that's such a big deal.
So, yeah.
But yeah, if you had no context for it, maybe you forgot, maybe you fell asleep, maybe you never saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just 2007. Where were we in our parenting journey at that point?
Molly was 5, so they're 5, 7, and 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, 2007 was the book. The movie would have come out after that.
Oh, yeah. If I had been a little bit older. Interesting stuff. Now Amber's doing some more research. This isn't the kind of stuff that you can do prior to recording.
Oh, my goodness, no. Who would do that?
That's crazy.
Oh, man. Part 1 came out in 2010.
10. So part 2 probably came out in 2011 then.
Yeah, it was 1 year later. I remember looking that up.
Okay, so Molly would have been, so we're at 11, 13, 15 then with our kids.
No, she was 8, 10, 12.
Who was born in 2000?
Josh.
Okay, I knew one of them was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. So, I don't know. I probably saw it. Maybe we were very tired. I don't know. So, Amber, you have 6 things and a quote.
I do.
I have 5 things and an honorable mention.
Well, some of mine could just be an honorable mention.
So why don't you start with your whatever you're going to do first?
Okay, so people who have maybe not heard this before, just to help you remember, the books are really long. There's a lot of content
Not
in there.
every book.
So we've realized we can't really talk about all the plot in detail, unfortunately, even though we loved it. So what I did for my top 6 in a quote was to pick the moments that just seemed the most poignant to me, the most important things that I really liked. So I'm going to start with... chronologically, I'm going to go with Ron Comes Back.
Ron Comes Back. All
Ron
right.
Comes Back. So we have been in the forest, apparating around, setting up spells around the tent so that nobody would see or hear them, moving every couple of days, trying to decide how do you even search for a Horcrux? And they have one, but how do you destroy it? And Ron is fed up and frustrated. I think it is before he leaves that he kind of has the yelling at Harry where he's like, we thought you would have a plan. We thought Dumbledore would give you a plan. Like, this is crazy. What are we doing here? And
Exactly.
Harry, of course, feels the same way, but he thought his friends understood that he was just as helpless and hopeless as him. So it's interesting because the Slytherin locket really does affect people's ability to show kindness and empathy towards each other.
Yeah, and so Ron, for some reason, is, like you said, more susceptible to this.
Yeah.
And that this locket, him carrying it around, it just makes him crazy. And he's a little bit crazy anyway.
Yeah, I relate to Ron, though. I get all of his feelings. I get all of his insecurities. He's always
Absolutely.
measured himself up to Harry, and Harry's the big famous guy, and he just lucked out being Harry's friend. And
Why would Hermione want to be with me when he could be with Harry and all this, yada, yada, yeah.
The Harry, Hermione, Ron stuff always reminded me of Luke, Leia, and Han.
Mm-hmm.
Because Han's jealous of Luke, but really there's no reason to be. And Luke might have thought he had a chance at one point, but obviously that's not meant to be. And,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Ron goes away. He leaves and he apparates and they can't find him. And then they wait around as long as they can, but then they have to leave. And at the moment they have to leave, it's very sad because they know that he's not going to know where they go next. And their whole thing is that they're trying to hide. So the odds of him finding them again are very low. So they were already depressed and having a hard time and taking turns wearing this depressing locket. And then Ron leaves. And so it's really hard on Hermione because I think she needed him. You know, Harry's on this quest and they're there to support him, but Ron and Hermione needed each other. So that was tough. When Ron comes back, Harry's keeping watch and he actually sees a Patronus, a doe, and that leads him to a lake where he sees it's a frozen pond, I suppose, and the sword of Gryffindor is at the bottom of the pond, and he breaks the water, and he has to dive down and get it. But, of course, he gets stuck down there because he's wearing the locket, and somebody comes in to save him. It's Ron. It's such an exciting moment. I'm excited to see the doe Patronus show up. I'm excited that they get the sword. The story's finally moving forward, and Ron's finally back. You really need that to happen. Every book has something with the relationship of these 3 friends where it falls apart and has to come back together, and you just can't wait for the coming back together.
And so somehow Dumbledore knew that Ron needed the Deluminator because that is what was able to guide him back to Harry and Hermione because there's no other way to find them.
Yeah, that's really cool. You find out that the Deluminator led him back. He just happened to hear like Hermione's voice out of it. He was messing with it.
Yeah.
And then a kind of a light rose up and he was able to follow it. So I think Dumbledore just kind of knew that maybe Ron's a little more reckless and a little less patient, and that he might, Ron even admits he knew at some point I would need to find my way back. I think is how he worded it. It was very sweet.
Yeah, and he said that as soon as I left, I wanted to come back, but he knew it was too late. So I love that. So my 5th one, Amber, is Ron destroys the locket.
Oh, nice! It's right after my moment.
Takes up right here, and I thought it was great in the book, and I thought they did a good job with it in the movie.
I think they did, yeah,
as well. But Ron comes back. They've got the sword. They've got the locket. And Harry says, "You destroy it." And Ron's like, "I can't do it." And he's like, "You've got to do it." And Harry's
it's kind
holding.
of interesting that he would give it to Ron. You know, it's sort of like his quest, and you would think he would just take it upon himself because it's going to be a hard thing. And I think it was important that Ron did it, but it's just interesting.
You got to crush those insecurities. You got to crush those doubts and those worries, and just trust that that this is going to work out. And in the movie, right, it's this kind of smoky monster that's telling all these lies. Why would she want to be with you?
Yeah.
You're nobody. Yeah. You don't have what it takes. Yada yada, whatever. And then it kind of shows them. In the book, it describes it as like that. Harry and Hermione are walking towards him like hand in hand in something, but the image is like a much more like the attractiveness of both of them is heightened or something.
That interesting?
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, that's how we see other people. Yeah.
And in the movie, Harry and Hermione are embracing.
Yeah.
And then Ron crushes the thing, and it's just beautiful.
It
I
really
love
is.
It. So I like you said, I like that symbolism of destroying the insecurities, destroying that which drags you down and drags you away from relationship with those who are most important. So
yep, absolutely.
There you go. So I just kind of jumped ahead to that one just because it was right in that same time frame. So there you go. That's my number 5. Ron destroys the locket.
All right. So I'll go with my next one being the radio show.
Love the radio show.
Yeah. So it doesn't get it very much. You hear it in the background in the movie, but it's actually played at the wrong point. So it's not until Ron comes back. Ron's been kind of out in the outside world, and he realizes that there's this kind of underground radio show, a little pump up the volume, Christian Slater kind of thing going on.
I never saw that movie. I need
Where it's some of the old Quidditch announcers, I think, right?
Yeah, Lee Jordan.
Yeah, Lee Jordan. He is, they have kind of code words, and they talk about like who's safe and who's not safe in this kind of underground anti-Voldemort movement that's going on. And when Ron finally finds it, so he fiddles with the radio forever, annoys Harry and Hermione because he really wants to find it. And when they find it and they realize, like, yeah, we're not fighting alone. People care about us. People behind us. Harry's a little bit nervous because he doesn't want anybody to be hurt for his sake, but just kind of knowing that they're not alone in the world. Because the movie, the book too, they really portray like, man, these kids just don't know what to do, and they're just in this forest wandering around. It's so despondent, and the radio show really gives them some hope.
Well, I love in the movie, I think, is something they added that was really, really good. Harry is kind of annoyed with the radio, and he says to Hermione, he's like, what does he think he's going to hear? Good news. And Hermione's like, I think he's just hoping that he doesn't hear bad news.
Absolutely, especially his family.
His family is, what is he disliked, number 1? What he's like can't remember what it's called.
Number 1.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but his family was certainly had to be up there in that like undesirable number 1. So they were probably up there somewhere.
And I think Ron couldn't even go home when he left.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to endanger his family.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good one. Yeah,
that was cool. And they had a secret code word you had to hear in each podcast so that you could find the next one. Not a podcast, a radio show.
And in the movie when Harry came to Hogwarts, they were broadcasting from the room of requirement, and they go on the radio and they're like, lightning has struck.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's such a perfect name for him, lightning. Yep.
So, and I feel like I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do my honorable mention now, Amber, because I think it fits here with this radio. And it was not in the book. It was only in the movie. And I don't know if it's one of my favorite parts, but it was striking to me.
Okay,
It was striking to me when Harry and Hermione dance in the tent.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
It's like they're in the midst of the dregs of this. Like, we don't know what to do. Everything's terrible.
Yeah, Ron has left. It's horrible.
And I don't know exactly what happens, but there's that kind of scratchy song playing on the radio.
I think he comes and takes the necklace off of her. She's been wearing the sand necklace.
And he throws it on a chair.
Yeah, nobody's wearing it for a minute. And he kind of makes her dance, and then they start to kind of cheer up a tiny bit and dance around. So honestly, when I saw the movie, I hated that scene because I felt like the first time I saw the movie, I felt like it was trying to say that there was a romantic connection between Harry and Hermione.
Yeah.
And I thought that is so wrong. That is for sure not what's going on. I can't believe they portrayed it that way. And this time I felt completely different about it.
Yeah.
I did not feel a romantic connection. I felt like these are two desperate people that are trying to find a little bit of joy in a desperate situation, that they were both at the end of their rope, that they were super good friends that loved each other, but I didn't feel that romance.
And
So
even the beginning of the
it.
dance is like
Yeah.
Harry, Daniel Radcliffe's dance
Yeah.
is just the dumbest thing. It's really funny.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just like
super cute.
It's just like they're trying to kind of regain this like, we're just kind of we're still kids.
I
Like
know,
we're just
they are. They're just
enduring
kids.
this rough thing. So
Yep.
I just think that was very poignant. Yeah, and I didn't feel at all that there was like, oh, there's this romantic thing.
No, I
It
didn't
was
either.
just
I
like,
just remember hating it the first
we're
time
just
around.
we're just enduring the tragedy that is our life at that moment.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great honorable
yeah,
mention.
I love that. So here you go. Do you want me to do my next one? 'Cause
Maybe you should.
It's prior chronologically.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so this was tough. And I did put a few things in front of it, but this was in the running for way up there.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's my number 4 thing.
Okay.
But it was tough. The opening scene of Snape walking into Malfoy Manor.
Oh my gosh,
And
that
it's
is really
just
intense.
beautiful and
Yes.
foreboding. And I know what is, because
Yeah.
I've read the book, right? I know what's going on in
Wow.
Snape's mind.
Interesting.
And there is the professor of Muggle studies being levitated above the table, and she's like, Severus, help me.
You're my friend.
You're my friend.
Oh
And it's
my
just like,
gosh.
and he's just like, ugh.
I mean, it's such a tense meal anyway. I mean, everybody around the table is thinking I could die at any
Oh
second.
yeah, Lucius is.
Oh, that
flipping
poor
out.
Malfoy family.
Oh my
They all
gosh.
look so rough.
They are just like,
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
it is so you just feel bad for them because
You thought it was
they
bad
are,
when Dobby got a sock. Things are getting much
yeah,
worse,
it's
Lucius.
so bad. So now Lucius is out of Azkaban, right? They've let all the Death Eaters are out of Azkaban, so he's back, but Voldemort doesn't trust him.
No.
and he wants a sword, or he wants a wand.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and he's just so, doesn't want to give it up. But he's like,
Yeah.
if I can't do anything, I'll just die. I'll just be
Right,
killed.
right.
And if I'm killed, then what happens to Draco, and what happens
Yeah.
to Narcissa? Is that her name?
Yep. And Draco looks so unhappy. I mean, nobody is happy.
it is so-
Bellatrix is maybe the only happy one, but
Yeah, it is real bad.
why did you guys think this was a good idea? Why did you think you wanted this?
Yeah, and I just love that. I think it sets up the book in such with an ominous
Yes.
tone of, we're at this big table, kind of like a King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
There's this power, like we are in charge, and the bad guy is not hiding necessarily. Well, I don't know if he's hiding or not, but he's there. He's powerful. He's doing stuff. He's killing people.
Yes.
It's really bad news. And at the very end, so this ties in. At the very, very end, in the epilogue, 19 years later,
Yeah.
Harry's son is like, what if I'm put in Slytherin?
Yeah.
I love this,
Aw.
and Harry's like, well, you're named after 2 Hogwarts headmasters,
Yeah.
one from Gryffindor,
Yeah.
and one from Slytherin, and the one from Slytherin was the bravest man I ever knew, and it's just like this is what he's doing. Like he has
Yeah.
sacrificed his, just how he's seen in the wizarding world. Like his life is on the line.
Yeah.
He's given up everything. He's doing this stuff that he's, like trying to thread the needle of protecting Harry and letting them,
Right.
and it's so hard. And he's just got to continue walking it out
Yeah.
because that's what he told Dumbledore he would do.
Oh my gosh.
It's super gross. And yeah, so it's just a great opening scene. I love it. So that was my number 4.
All right. Well, I'm going to go on my next one, which goes right with that. It is the prince's story. So that is towards the end of the book when we finally get to hear Snape's side of things. So Snape is actually killed by Voldemort because Voldemort thinks that Snape has the ownership of the Elder Wand for being the one to kill Dumbledore. So he feels like he needs to kill Snape, and that's kind of a creepy reveal conversation he's just having with Snape, and Snape realizes like, uh-oh,
Yeah, and it's not even like he's not mad.
No.
He's just like, you've been really
something I
loyal,
gotta do.
Severus.
Yeah.
It's been great, but only one of us can live forever, and it's me.
Yep.
Oh, I hate that
So
guy.
he has Nagini attack him, so he doesn't die immediately. He lives long enough for Harry to find him and for Harry to retrieve his memories to put in the pensive. And so Harry goes to watch his memories, and I always love those pensive scenes. So you get to see Severus growing up with Lily. He knew her when they were kids. He had a big crush on her. And then you see him coming to Hogwarts and Lily kind of being taken with James and the other kids and leaving Severus behind. And
she gets sorted into Gryffindor.
Yes.
And that's
that was
a
huge.
bummer. That's a big bummer for Severus.
Yep. So then you get to see a little bit of interactions with Dumbledore of Severus being so upset. Well, you get to see him discover Lily's dead body and then being so upset that, Dumbledore couldn't protect her. At that point, he, sort of transfers some of his loyalty to Lily onto Harry. But I'm kind of surprised, like Dumbledore never questioned Snape's loyalty. And his loyalty is based on
his love for...
that Dumbledore said he would protect Lily, but then she died. It just seems like Snape could have flipped.
Yeah, but even, was it in the movie or in the book, at the very end, right, Snape says, you have her eyes.
Yes, absolutely. So he never stopped loving her. So he loved Harry because he was a part of her.
Yeah, I think it was the only... Even though there was so much of James and Harry that Severus hated, there was just a bit of Lily, the eyes or whatever, and that was it. That's all he had.
Yeah,
and that was the only person that he ever loved and cared about, and that actually stood up for him too.
That's true. She did. So it's kind of unhealthy of Snape. I think this time around, I was aware of that more. The first time I was just so happy that he was redeemed, and I was so excited to realize, like, oh my gosh, all this time he actually was looking out for Harry. And now rereading the entire series, being fully aware of the last book here, it's like, wow, he really still chose to do a lot of crappy things.
Yeah,
like,
he was bad.
Why didn't he just go out of his way to make Harry feel comfortable and like raise him up as a wizard? Why did he treat him horribly? That did not make sense to me. So
I think that's the beauty of J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
It's so realistic.
Yeah.
Right? Because, he should have got some counseling, should have got some help. Like, I need help kind of getting over this thing and moving past, not living in anger, not living in the past. Okay, all this stuff. But he didn't.
Yeah.
Because so many of us, right, we're just stuck in the past.
Yep.
And we are angry and we're trying to do the right thing, but we mess up all the time. And so that's what we see with Snape.
Yeah.
And
so maybe even the tragedy of her death locked him into that, where, it's been 18 years now by the time the end of the book, and he hasn't gotten over it, but he couldn't, he just needed to find somebody else and move on, but he couldn't do it. So anyway, I loved that.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. We had the audio dropped out for something. So Amber.
Yeah, I was just saying that Snape realizing that Harry was going to need to die after all this time of protecting him and Dumbledore encouraging him to give Harry the benefit of the doubt and help him through all these things. And then he realized, oh my gosh, he's still got to die after all this. And then realizing that it was Snape's Patronus. Oh my gosh, Snape was the doe that led Harry to the Gryffindor sword. I don't know how Snape knew where they were. Was he following Ron? Maybe he had some kind of a tag on Ron, and Ron led him there, but then he got the sword into the pond. Was Snape actually there? Did he do it all magically?
Yeah.
That part I don't quite understand, but I love that Snape is the one who found them in the darkness. Yeah. Snape gave them the sword of Gryffindor. Dumbledore said it's got to go to somebody when they really need it and they're in peril. Snape set all that up. And then Dumbledore's like, oh, your Patronus is the doe, which I don't know why he fires off a Patronus in the middle of Dumbledore's office, because he's not doing the thing then.
He doesn't do it in the book.
But anyway, it shows that the Patronus is a doe, and Dumbledore's like, oh, that's Lily's. Yeah. Patronus is like, still, and Severus says, always, which that was really sweet the first time I read it. The second time I'm like, unhealthy.
Yeah.
But and then the fact that he wanted Harry to have those memories, that Dumbledore had said when Voldemort has the snake right next to him, that's the part when you really need to be nervous, that Dumbledore had put all those pieces. Of course, he didn't tell Harry why, I don't know, but he put all those pieces into play so that Harry could get to the point where he needed, and Snape made sure that happened. So
It was great.
I don't know if I would any longer say Snape was my favorite character, but I really loved his story arc.
I loved him. So, and as we say every episode, Alan Rickman.
Oh
was
my gosh,
just
for sure,
unbelievable.
for sure.
The best. So that I'm just going to jump up to my number one because it plays right in here. Harry
Okay.
walking to his death in the woods.
Oh my goodness, right?
Like he looks into the pensive. He realizes the reality of what happens. He is the seventh Horcrux or whatever, and he has to do what Lily did 18 years before, and he needs to willingly lay his life down.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to defeat Dumbledore or defeat Voldemort, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit unclear. And so he walks out. In the book, he tells Neville to kill the snake.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
So
I wish
good.
he would have done that in the movie.
And then in the movie, he runs into Ron and Hermione. On
In the book,
stairway.
the only person he sees is Neville, and I kind of like that.
I do too.
I think that's interesting. He doesn't see his friends for one last time. He's got to just do this on his own because they would have tried to go with him, and then he needed to be by himself. But seeing somebody to pass on the information, and it gives Neville this really cool, brave story arc.
Yeah, we learn throughout the books. I'm not sure where, right, that the chosen one could have been Neville or Harry.
Yeah.
And you always are like, well, good thing it wasn't Neville because he's a bit inept, right? But now, Harry and Ron and Hermione are gone. He is leading the DA in this Death Eater run Hogwarts with Snape as the headmaster. He's being beaten, yet he's still continuing to stand up.
Yes.
He's mastered the room of requirement.
Yes.
He has saved all these kids and pulled them in, and he is just leading this anti-Voldemort charge in the midst of a very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was just like, this kid is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he's done it, right? He's stood
For
up.
sure.
He's going for it. And his grandma is proud of him now, which is kind of a big deal, I
that's
think.
very sweet, yes.
Yeah. And so he tells Harry tells Neville, just make sure you kill the snake, whatever you do. And then he walks into the woods, and in the book, he finds these two Death Eaters that take him to Voldemort.
Oh, yeah.
And his wand is in his jacket pocket. He
Mm-hmm.
never takes it out. He just walks into the clearing. Hagrid, we find, is captured.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Harry, what are you doing?
Of course, yeah.
And then Voldemort, Avada Kedavra, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and kills him. And Harry wakes up in that King's Cross and Dumbledore's
Weird.
there, and the little soul of Voldemort's there.
Yeah.
And I just obviously such a Christ-like sacrifice. It's
Yeah.
like, I am going to lay my life down
Mm-hmm.
for the good of everybody else, right?
Yep.
And we see that when he comes at power with humility and sacrifice, preferring others before himself, I'm like, how do you say that is not inspired by biblical
of course,
text,
yeah.
biblical narrative? And so I just love
Definitely.
that. I love that.
I think that the book did a good job of putting us in his head a little bit and he talked about his heart beating fast. He talked about his breath and just kind of like having that realization of like, well, my heart's not going to beat that much longer. My breath is not going to come that much longer. And just kind of like I for sure understood, and I felt like if I had experienced what he'd experienced, I would have done the exact same thing. Like I would have known, like, okay, well, this is the time to die. And he'd almost died many times before in his life,
Yeah.
but I don't think I do think that I would have done the same thing as him, even though that's crazy I have never experienced all those things, but it just felt like, yep, this is what he's got to do, but it's so hard. And he didn't shy away from it being hard. He wasn't like super cocky and brave about it, but he was just like, I have no choice. I'm going to do this. And he didn't waver. And
And
was very
following, and doing what his mom did.
Yeah.
I just think that's great. I love that. So there you go. That was actually my number one. We'll go back to my other ones here.
That's great. I have a little bit before that was arriving at Hogwarts. So when Harry and Hermione and Ron finally arrive at Hogwarts, so they go to Hogsmeade and it sets off that alarm. That was kind of freaky. They almost got caught because they were waiting. Voldemort was waiting for them to come to Hogsmeade. So it ended up being Aberforth, Dumbledore, that brought them in. And they have a painting of his sister that they're able to travel through to get into the castle. And when they arrive in the room of requirement and everybody's so excited to see him, that was just really interesting to me because I knew Harry's mission and I knew that he's not there to like overthrow these guys that are doing all the discipline at Hogwarts. Like that's such a small thing to him compared to this huge task that he's on, but they don't understand that. Here's Harry, their Quidditch captain or whatever, that of course he's going to come in and get rid of these, what were those horrible? The Caro brother and sister that were torturing everybody and punishing them and making life at Hogwarts so hard. Of course they figured he was going to come in and do that.
Had this idea as you're talking. I never put this together before, but do you remember when Jesus comes on the scene and everybody's like, "Oh, are you going to overthrow
Well,
Rome?"
Yeah. I thought I even said that to you. I had the exact same thing. That's part of my thing is that it felt like when Jesus
You probably did. That's probably why it jumped
came
into
to
my
town.
brain.
Yeah. And everybody expected him to actually overthrow the Romans and take his place on the throne, and that's not what he was there to do. And so it must have been hard. You know, I always kind of just pictured Jesus kind of like not even really thinking about that. And Harry didn't really think about the people too much either, but it was just like, oh man, all these people have their hopes and dreams put in him, and that makes perfect sense to them what he's going to do, but they don't know what his full purpose is.
So good.
So I think that was a really cool way to see it. And I love the way the room of requirement was set up, you know, with beds and stuff in there for them. And then the movie, the radio show was there and these hammocks. And I think they did a good job with the movie there.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great one. Awesome. So I got 2 left. This one's going to be fast, Amber.
Great.
So I really liked the scene. It was in Deathly Hallows Part 1, towards the beginning of the book. The first kind of cool thing they do after wandering around for a bit, sneaking into the Ministry of Magic.
Oh, that's super cool.
It was so great. And I loved in the book, they spent weeks kind of staking it out and planning and trying to figure out, and they get in and it immediately falls apart.
Of course. I mean, there'd be so many factors that you wouldn't think about.
Yeah, and so Ron is playing this guy, and unknown to him, his wife is in the basement being grilled by stupid, what's her name? Dolores Umbridge. She's so bad.
So when they first capture him in the book, he keeps saying, not today, I've got to be at the ministry, because he knows his wife is, it's terrible.
So bad. And then Hermione gets called by, Umbridge takes her down, like, oh, great, whatever your name is, you can come and keep notes. And so Harry's left to try to find the Horcrux. And all this stuff happens. And,
I love the adults that play them as, you know, they're Polyjuice. They look so awkward and like teenagers trying to be in adult bodies. It's so convincing that it's really Harry and Ron and Hermione inside them. Yep.
So good. And they end up down in the, whatever that chamber is, and there's all these Dementors floating around, and Dolores has her stupid cat Patronus protecting her and Hermione, and she's grilling this lady. Oh, dang it. Can you stop that beeper? This is like the episode of technical weird audio issues. So much for not editing. And so they all end up in that chamber downstairs, and there are the Dementors floating around, so it's all cold, but Dolores is protected by the stupid cat Patronus, and she's grilling this nice lady, and she's like, who did you steal this wand from?
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, I didn't steal it. I got it from Ollivander's when I was
The wand chose me.
The wand chose me. And she's like, you're lying. And it makes no sense. Why are you being like this? And she is wearing the Slytherin locket, so is she worse?
I wonder.
I don't know. It's bad. It's so bad. And then they save her and they escape, and it's just a great scene. A great movie scene, a great book scene, Ron in the escape, Ron gets splinched and Hermione's freaking out.
Yes, gross.
I just love that. I just think that's one of the best kind of action fun sequences in the movie. Ron stepping into the elevator all drenched because he was in that office trying to get
he doesn't even remember that the other guy's Harry.
Exactly.
It's me, Ron. I forgot what you look like.
So there you go. So I'm going to say that's my number 3, but it's really a weird order that I'm doing here.
Yeah, I'm not really doing I just did them kind of chronological, but I'm going to combine kind of 2 little ones. So they're both about the Malfoys. So one is when Harry is finding the crown. What do they call it?
Rowena's Ravenclaw's tiara.
Diadem. Yeah. So Draco's in there with Crab or Goyle and somebody. Anyway, one of the Draco's minions set fire, scary fire,
bad
to
fire,
the
yeah.
this hidden room. It's not the room of requirement. It's a room
Well,
where
it
you
is
hide
the room
things.
of
Oh, it
requirement.
is.
That's
It's
how
just
you-
a different function of it.
Yeah.
When you want to hide something that nobody can find.
Yep.
So Harry knew he'd seen the diadem in there apparently, and then Draco spent a lot of time in there. But the fact that Harry chose to save Draco, that's what I
that was
remember.
great.
That is, you know, a lot of bad things have happened to Harry because of Draco. Draco's actually in there trying to thwart Harry's plan. Saving him would provide a future opportunity for Draco to hurt him and thwart him again. Ron and Hermione for sure don't want to stop and save him.
A heroic sacrifice,
Yeah.
saving your enemies.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He does it. He saves
Does it.
them. And then the second one is when Harry is coming back to life, I guess, from the King's Cross situation, and Voldemort has Narcissa go see whether or not he's alive. And that's Draco's mom. And she kind of crouches down by him and she can feel his heartbeat. And instead of, scary Voldemort's right there. And she asks Harry, is Draco alive? And Harry says yes, which he was last time he saw him, but who the heck knows, you know? But she lies and says that he's dead. That's for sure her own, death sentence if Voldemort realized. And so I just kind of liked that the Malfoys have turned a little bit.
Oh, man. And in the movie, they tried to escape. The battle's going on, and the Malfoy 3 are running across the bridge away and just going. They're just probably going, well, hopefully Harry wins and we don't get tracked down and die. So,
yikes.
Yeah. And then in the epilogue, we see Draco, and he's married, and he's got a kid, and he's like
not in jail.
He's not in jail, so it's not fighting.
Well,
each
in
other.
the movie, I don't know if they make it a thing in the book, but in the movie, he doesn't come at first when Voldemort calls. He does come eventually, but for a second, it seems like he's going to stand with Hogwarts. Voldemort calls anybody. That would have been really cool. But his parents are like, Draco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last one, Amber, that I thought was really interesting, that I don't know if you can make it out in the movies, but in the book, very, very clear. There's 2 gravestones with Bible verses on them. The first one is Lillian James' tombstone, and on that tombstone is 1 Corinthians 15:26. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death.
Yes.
And that is very, very interesting. I don't know who picked that out. Did Dumbledore pick that out for them?
Ooh, yeah, I wonder.
And because
they would have been too young to really be planning their funerals.
Exactly. And so they're dead. They were, she sacrificed herself to save Harry, but they have died. But it's just like, this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And in the end, we're going to overcome this. And
Oh,
I
that's
just
really
think that was
cool.
really interesting. And why would Rowling put that on there? Obviously there is a really important reason. I would love to hear an interview of what exactly she was thinking, though I do know that in the height of the Harry Potter craze, when so much of the evangelical church was pushing against it, she was like, well, no, I'm a believer. Like, these stories came out of my Christian faith, and I thought that I didn't want to tip my hand too quickly, but I thought the Bible verses at the end would have been kind of shown where I was coming from. But
I think that's pretty cool. I know that we've talked in other episodes that she was dealing with a lot of personal deaths and hard things in her family as she wrote the books. I don't know if her parents died or something, and just questioning all that kind of death and afterlife and how do you grieve and how do you handle things and stuff. So yeah, I definitely feel like there's big spiritual parallels.
Oh, absolutely. And then the other gravestone was Dumbledore's mom and sister, I guess, whatever her name was. And it said, it was Matthew 6:21, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And I'm not exactly sure. I haven't taken much time to kind of think, what is he trying to say? What is Rowling trying to say there? Or what is Dumbledore trying to say by putting that on the tombstone? What was his treasure? It actually wasn't what he and Grindelwald were running after, right? The greater good. His treasure was his family, and I think he realized that too late.
Good point.
As, it was either his or Grindelwald's ricocheting spell that killed Ariana.
Oh my goodness.
And
so his treasure was not where it should have been, and that's
Yeah.
why she had to die. I definitely think that's what that one was
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So I just love that. I think that was really interesting having those. Interesting to pick those Bible verses, and that she did that on purpose. So anyway, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, you for sure did not need to have any Bible verses,
You
really.
didn't really need to. So I love that. So I thought it was great. Well, Amber, I loved doing this long Harry Potter series with
Cool.
you.
I did have my quote last.
Oh, your quote.
My quote is, "Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry, but why should that mean it's not real?"
Oh, that is great.
That is in King's Cross right before Harry comes back to life, and he's like, is this really happening, or is it inside my head? And it's like, they don't have to be two different things. And so, yeah, I think
that's great.
that was really cool. The King's Cross stuff is weird.
It's very strange.
The Death King's Cross area,
Death
the white
King's
stuff.
Cross and
all
the
the
little
stuff that
weird
Dumbledore
Voldemort
says
baby
and
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So why Harry gets to come back, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm glad he came back. Boy, the first time reading it, you don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, the chapter before that, it just ends with him dying, and you're
Yeah.
just like, what? I
Yeah.
remember pulling into the driveway, listening to the end of that chapter, and just being like, I can't continue
Yeah.
listening. I've got to stop. I'm just like, what? And I knew that he lives, but I'm just
But
like,
you didn't even remember very much of the movie, so you didn't really know where it was going.
yeah. So it was great. She's great. I don't know why. She's written something else, but it didn't work, right?
Yeah, she wrote some things under a pen name about a detective. I read it. I read one of them at least.
Yeah.
It's fine. It just doesn't grip you like this.
Yeah, it's very
This is
interesting.
magical.
It's very wonderful. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this, like I
Me
was saying,
too.
and so it was fun. So, hopefully, you guys have either endured or enjoyed the
Yeah.
Harry Potter series. Well, it is now wrapped up, and we're going to be moving on to some other fun things in the future.
So we would like to hear what your favorite parts were of the Deathly Hallows book or movie. So you can let us know on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at SegmentsCast, or send us an email, segmentscast@gmail.com. What did we miss? What was essential that we forgot to talk about? Because it's
Absolutely.
such a big book.
Yeah, Sarah, we're asking you specifically.
Exactly.
Exactly. So you can look us up and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and we would love it if you share the show with others. The only way new people find out about the show is through you.
Yes. So we want to thank our daughter Emma for our logo and graphics. She's a graphic artist studying at Ferris State University. I don't know that she's taking commissions right now because she
Probably
is
not.
very busy, but she is the type that would take commissions in the future. So keep her in mind. You can get a hold of her through our email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And I want to also say thank you to EDM Samurai Gabriel for the intro and outro music. You can find him on SoundCloud at EDM Samurai. All right. Well, there you go, Amber.
There we go.
I'm going to say a quote, a Dumbledore quote to end this. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.
So you're
Is
doing a
that
quote
fine?
we've already used
Yeah.
in the thing, not just like a brand new quote.
It's just the one that the only one I know.